And we're live, I think. I may not know what day it is or how to tell time or anything else, but we are live on the tubes. Jeff Solomon hasn't joined us yet, so we're still doing some of the warm up for the show. John's unwrapping things.
Well, so it's fun, it's definitely the 21st century. Well, maybe it's the 19th century because I still have a wallet. But it is the 21st century because I have more notes than dollar bills in my wallet. One of those notes is tonight's trivia question.
Is it you? I thought it was me.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll save it for next week then.
Tuck it back into your wallet.
Well, now there's definitely more notes than dollar bills in my wallet. I got notes about ordering bright tanks and redoing hop contracts and trivia questions. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is my license to look for snakes in Arizona. I better not lose that.
You didn't know you were joining We Like Rummaging Through Wallets, did you, Peter?
Well, I mean,
fascinating stuff here.
It's $100 a year to look for snakes in Arizona, and doesn't expire until May. That's good. You get hauled off to jail if you don't have one of these in AZ. All right. All that stuff is put away.
Trying to explain my time mistake earlier on the Facebooks that caused all the confusion. John, you're going with a Vermentino, right?
Yep.
All right. And Peter, this isn't the show. Like, just so you know, like we're waiting for Peter's like, this is the worst podcast ever. I mean, he may say that when the show's done anyway, but
I would never say that on a live mic. Hope I get this right. So are you live on?
We're live on YouTube right now, and then I'll download the show afterwards, and then lop off the beginning and lop off the end, and then we have a show. So we got Jim, we got Laura, Kristen, everybody's in the chat. Still trying to. The good thing is they all started drinking an hour ago when they thought this show started, so the chat should be a little bit more lively than normal. Kristen, I saw Kristen opened up. I think do you guys have a Barbera? No, Peter. Do you guys make a Barbera?
Yes, we do.
I think that's what she opened up.
Okay, yeah. In most years, we make it from a couple different vineyards. It depends on where we can source it. We have yet to plant our own Barbera, but something that we've thought about. But right now, we can get a pretty reliable source, and it's a good drinking wine. It's not the kind of wine you age for 25 years, but we can make a really nice, solid red table wine out of it. Kind of one of your go-to wines like Sangiovese or one of the other varieties we make.
Okay.
It's really high acid. So you got to be in the mood for Barbera if you crack that open. It can be really tannic and really acidic depending on, the climate.
Yep. All right. So Jeff's saying he might be another few minutes. So I'm going to get finish up the show.
Finishing his salad. Come on.
Or what he does right before the show.
Right.
He's got rituals. He's got rituals.
I want to know what he's doing. Maybe I should.
Most people do that in the morning. Shave. He shaves in the evening.
There you go. There you go.
And he's going to come on to show up a full beard. So.
And
I woke up a whole 10 minutes early so I could shave before work this morning. So,
what?
Putting in my effort today.
I don't normally grow a beard. I have the mustache and the goatee for 25 years now. But I don't know. I just got lazy a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden it was 10 days, and I'm like, I don't want to drag a razor across this.
Yeah, man, I get it.
It's not going to get easier.
No, I know.
Ooh, Laura's got a cab from Central Valley, Chile. That's exciting. I didn't see what Jim's drinking. Jim's been up since 4 though.
So he should be punchy.
More so than normal. So Peter, and just to make sure, it is Velleno is your last name?
I say Velleno.
Velleno, okay.
Velleno.
Well, it's Castello di Amorosa, right?
Yep, the Castle of Love. Yeah.
I need some Barry White music to play whenever we say the name of the castle. Then, and then, so is there anything you just prefer us that we touch on? Anything you prefer we don't touch on in the show tonight?
No, I'm pretty comfortable talking about our wines. I don't really like commenting on other people's wines.
Okay.
So I make enough wine that plenty to talk about.
All right, let me cross off the who do you want to crap on around you?
Yeah.
Let me get rid of that question. Do you want to touch on the glass fire or just stay away from that?
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's no secret, and stuff had a big impact, and it's not a problem.
And then I'm sure COVID, how you guys are dealing with it, how you guys are coming out of it, changes you made. Okay. Other than that, I don't think as much else is going on. I don't know, John. What we got? John, he said he might be here in 3 minutes. Do we want to just kick the show off and he can join in when he gets here, or should we wait a couple more minutes? Peter, what do you think?
That doesn't make any difference. I mean, I can wait 3 minutes.
Let's stick it out for Solomon. Right. I mean, I'm sure
we'll
it's got something
after.
to do with fava beans and dirty diapers.
I'm loving the nose on this one. I got the Il Baron opened up.
Yeah. That's 2015.
Yep, 2015. Yeah. Solomon is he's in the show notes, so he's getting closer. How are the vines progressing so far?
Well, thankfully not too much because it's been cold here. I mean, maybe not compared to some parts of the country, but frost in the morning is not so good for grapevines after bud break begins.
Right.
So they are not quite there yet. The people are doing some frost protection out there, but vines have not taken off yet, which would
Excellent.
be for the best.
I don't know if you have bragging rights or not, Eccles, but I got a half an inch of snow on the ground just this afternoon.
I had to call the city today to tell them to come and plow our street because I had just managed to get like one car length out. We had to go shovel our street so half of our street could get out of it because it was over 2 feet deep in our street. It's been fun.
It took me over a minute to defrost my window today. I hear you.
I was out there for a total of 5 hours, I think. In the 4 trips. The 4 trips I went out to try to get the snow out of the way.
Patrick's wife tried to get him to plow the neighbor's driveway, and are you gonna go plow the neighbor's driveway? And he was out there for like an hour. They've got a 4x4 that they put a plow onto it. And he comes back inside, and Kathleen took a picture of him. And there's ice coming off his eyebrows and his beard. And I think there were icicles on the bottom of his eyeglasses.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I'm not plowing the neighbor's driveway. Screw that.
It was it sucked. It's one of those where it snows all day and then the wind loops around and comes out of the north blowing south into the springs, and it's just
You know what's interesting? This when we first moved to Colorado, and it wasn't when we first moved to Colorado. It was about 4 years later, 2004. We had a monster blizzard up there on around St. Patrick's Day.
Yep,
we got 44 inches in over 2.5 days.
I remember.
and my boss asked me, "So, John, you really couldn't come to work?" And I showed him a picture. I took a picture. My Volvo wouldn't make it up the driveway, but I took a picture and all you could see was my rear view mirror sticking out. I said, "Mark, this is my car." "What do you mean? Where's there? I don't see a car. See that? See, that's my rear view mirror. That's why I couldn't make it to work." So yeah, March is brutal for snow in Colorado.
Yep, Kristen confirmed she is drinking the Barbera.
That's great.
What year was it, Kristen? I can't remember. Keep waiting for her. All right. Let's just do it.
Let's fire up the music. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. So there's going to be some video stuff, Peter. Some music's going to come in, and I'm going to start screaming at things, and then the video will end, and I'll still be screaming over music, and then we'll come down and get into the show. Let me make sure I've got everything where I need it here. I know, man. We're so professional. It's really sick. Okay. Here we go.
Hey.
Thanks
for being so patient. Oh, we're live on YouTube already.
Just in time. Hit the button, Nichols.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking" time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Excellent. That didn't work at all, did it?
Nope.
That's what happens when you try to pull one over on me. It's good to see you, Peter.
Nice to see you as well, Jeff.
We told him you were shaving.
I should.
All right.
Ooh, that's fancy technology right there.
You like that? Yeah, I can't hear this. Can you guys hear it right now?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh. It's just me that can't hear it? That's...
No, I mean, it did cut out during that original intro. But, yeah.
Fair enough. Something new happens every single try. We try it this new way. I love it. It's so great. I'm going to have no idea how to manage that. Oh, well, we'll see how it goes.
I am always ready. I have been ready since first call. Roll.
All right. This is
Hi,
definitely
Jeff
weird.
McKinney.
Oh, thank you for that. Oh, my goodness. So you guys can hear that we're hearing the music okay?
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. And we'll try that. Oh, 5 comments. I'm not even going to go look.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking" time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 321 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing Italian castles in Napa Valley, We're tasting wine, and we're doing it all with Peter Velleno from Castello di Amorosa. So crack open that beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking! All right, you guys are going to have to tell me if I got the music right or not, because I never heard any of it.
Hey, it was great. Eccles
Sounded
finally
great.
knows what it's like to be a teacher during distance learning. Excuse me. I can't hear.
Excellent. That's fantastic. So let's start off by saying cheers, my podcast drinking friends. Welcome to Happy Hour 320. I'm one of your favorite 321 of your favorite award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on fun. We do like to have it, so make sure you never miss another episode of our brand of drinking fun by visiting welikedrinking.com/subscribe.
Subscribe.
All right, let's get to this. We have a ton of stuff to go over tonight. We have a ton of stuff to drink tonight, so this is going to be a fun episode, but let's find out who we have with us, and we'll hold off on what we're drinking till after we've introduced everybody. We're joined by our usual panel members. We have our California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador and recovering wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Hey, directly from Panama, apparently.
We have our commercial brewer and snake wrangler, John Ruyak.
Good evening.
And I am your host and certified specialist of wine, Jeff Eccles. Now, our guest this week has been the winemaker for Castello di Amorosa since 2014, after being the only student to graduate UCDavis with a bachelor's in fermentation science in 2003. He has worked with the William Hill Winery and Hartwell Vineyards before moving over to Castello di Amorosa. Please help us welcome Peter Velleno. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Hi. Gentlemen, thank you.
So excited to have you on the show this week. We've been working on this one for a while, so I'm really glad we were able to make it happen. I'm so excited. I am unable to speak tonight, which is going to be great. But how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. It's it's kind of cold, brisk morning here in Napa, but warmed up, and a nice sunny day later on, and beautiful evening here. And this is a new experience for me. Doing this show with you guys, and looking forward to it.
Excellent. So let's get to it. So we all have a different sample that you sent us. They actually sent us 2 samples each. We're all each going to get into one of them tonight. So Peter, what I thought we'd do is let's just talk through what we each have, and then we'll open some of them up. So John, which one are you drinking tonight?
I was sent the Rosé de Pinot Noir and a Vermentino, and I chose to open the Vermentino this evening.
Excellent. I am going, I think this is kind of the big dog. I've got the 2015 Il Baron. So this is a Cabernet. Is it 100% Cabernet?
In some years it is, not every year. The 2014 has 4% Petit Verdot in it.
And the 2015?
The rest is Cabernet.
Oh, Cabernet.
15. Sorry, 15, yes.
Okay. Excellent. Jeff Solomon.
Yeah, well, the one that I'm not opening tonight is the one that I think might fight you in a duel, Jeff Eccles. I do have the 2014 La Castellana, which you may have seen me review on one of my episodes of Stay Rad Wine Blog TV. Different vintage, of course, but that's the Super Tuscan blend, we'll call that. Tonight, I am drinking the 2018 Reserve Napa Valley Chardonnay. Super stoked on this. I had a revelation with some Castello di Amorosa Chardonnays a few years back, and I inundated our Facebook tavern with those earlier today.
And then Peter, what are you drinking with us tonight?
Well, I have a bottle of the Vermentino, and I was thinking I might actually open this bottle of Castellana that I had, but we'll see how the night goes. I also have the Rosado here as well, which
nice, excellent. All right, so let's see. Do you guys want to? Should we pop these things open and drink them before we get to the shenanigans?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Solomon, why don't you start off? And remember, we're all tasting stuff. So it's not a 10-minute tasting tonight.
I'll keep those for YouTube and Stay Around Wine Blog TV. Make sure to subscribe like Ryan Hannigan of Focus on the Beer did today. You're gonna be very disappointed if you're looking for the next episode. It'll be a while. But I will say, when I had so much fun just kind of going in the way back machine, because both the bottles that I got have a wax covering over it. So I had to go back and find myself reminding myself of how to open it up on Stay Around Wine Blog TV.
You didn't use any fire, did you?
No. I do the friction technique where I just rub the palm of my hand over the top of the wax for a little bit and then just put the cork screw straight through. And I got the cork coming out like a mushroom. I didn't even really have to clean up the lip too much to be able to get a good pour. But Peter, I just have to ask, what's your favorite technique for opening a wax top?
Well, my favorite technique is to give it to somebody who's never done it and just see what they come up with. But no, you're on the right track, but the rubbing the top of it, I've never done that. You just go right through it like it's not even there. And you maybe go a little bit further into the cork than you normally would to make sure you don't break the cork in half. If it's an older bottle, it's especially important that you don't destroy the cork. But yeah, you just go right through it like it's not there and you pop it right out. And if you feel like it, you can peel off, like I've done here. You could peel off the a little bit if you like, but it's not like the wax that we used when I first started at the castle. I've been at the winery for 13 years now total. And we first were using this wax that kind of turned into a powder, and our older vintages have that. That's a little bit messy. This wax is very clean. Once you pull it open, you can peel it off if you want, or you just go for it and pour it. You're not going to get any in your wine.
That's so interesting. So I feel like I talked myself into, and John, we've had this conversation before. I talked myself into doing the thing where you tap the top of the soda can before you open it up when you don't really have to do that. But yeah, I will say, Peter, I love your style of just give it to somebody else and see what they do with it. I was considering like putting it into some warm water, but that's just
no,
crazy.
I think if you warm it up, you might make it worse because then it'll make it flexible and it'll tend to bend. You want it to be brittle, so when you open it, it snaps right off.
And then you do have some folks that just start from the little drip right here and try to peel it like an orange.
That's a tag, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. John, you've been dying to say something.
I feel like that technique of just sticking the corkscrew through it wouldn't really work with those beer bottles that are. Then they have the metal cap underneath the wax. I feel like that wouldn't work on that.
Yeah, and then the carbonation, you might be in for a little surprise. So
I shouldn't have just slammed the neck on my table and busted the bottle open.
Or you didn't saber it open? You didn't saber it open?
The saber didn't work either. Well, except I sliced at it like that. So
that was a bad idea. So hey, check it out. Again, this is the 2018 Napa Valley Reserve Chardonnay from Castello di Amorosa. And, beautiful, typical golden Chardonnay color on this. This is 100% Chardonnay grapes, 10 months Surly in 100% new Burgundian French oak barrels, 75% mallow. And the nose is just this beautiful amalgamation of like baked apples and baked pastry. There's got to be, I'm sure some people like to put those two things together, baked apples and baked pastry. I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe a pie or so, I don't know. But it's a little bit of that like warm apple pie. And honestly, with a little like creme brulee going on as well, maybe a little like whipped cream. I wonder if apple pie and whipped cream go together too. But beautiful nose and like a little like flinty, almost like graphite minerality there on the nose and on the palate. Oh God, I miss this. It's been a long time since I just sat down with just a beautiful Chardonnay. And I feel like, I know the folks watching live, as they ought to do every Tuesday night at 7:30-ish Pacific at welikedrinking.com/show. They didn't realize that I was running a little bit late today. But on a day like that, where it's like I feel like I've been just on the go all day long, this is the perfect beverage to have in my glass right now. This would be great with like a chicken dish, but honestly, just on its own, this is beautiful. Peter, I'm in love. I'm falling back in love again. This is awesome.
Yeah, the way you're describing it made me wish I opened that one up tonight. But I have the Chardonnay so frequently. It's one of the reserve Chardonnay we make is one of my most favorite wines, and I go to it a lot. So I wanted to go to something different today, but I think you described it very well. We started making this wine, I don't know, I think we've probably made 6 or 7 vintages of it, and definitely want to make it it's clearly influenced by the oak, the malolactic to give it richness on the mouthfeel. I wouldn't put it in the buttery category, but it's definitely leaning towards that rather than metallic or super acidic. It's a bit more on the richer, butterier side. And then the flavors, the fruit flavors you get, maybe apple or pear, go really nicely with the kind of baked pastry and brioche flavors you might get from the aging on the yeast leaves and the barrels that we use. And it's really great. It really is a great product. It's one of my favorites that we make.
This is fantastic, and I gotta say, like, I became a big fan of your winery specifically through the Chardonnay. When in my younger days, all I thought of for Castello di Amorosa was a place to take my lady to impress her because it looks really cool, but the wine is actually fantastic too, and that's what I think really wins people over.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, Mr. Ruyak, let's get into that Vermentino.
So we had dinner this evening, and I opened this up just a little bit before I came on the show. And I don't have a wine refrigerator that's specifically for wine temperature, so it cooled down just a little bit too much. And I poured it, and we've been sitting here, and I've just been trying to warm it up a little bit with my hands. And I gave a small sample to my wife, and as I was walking away, and I took a sip. But I mean, the beautiful color, my goodness. Just not frizzante, but just a little bubbles hanging around the bottom of my glass. And I don't know, maybe there was some dust in it, but we just washed these 2 days ago because we used them. And since I had COVID, my sniffer just doesn't work at all, anyway, I mean, I do get some kind of sweet tropical type of thing going on, but when I take a sip, it's shit. Even though it's bright and acidic, there's this softness to it that's really neat. And I just turned my head after I poured that little bit for my wife, and I swear I got a little bit of lemon zest. And that was really cool. It's just like, whoo, wow, where did that come from? And it's still there, and it's bright acidity, but not too much. I've had some Vermentinos from Italy that were just bordering on just like, whoa, it's just you drink it and it's like a fire hose coming out of your mouth. And I'm really sad that I didn't have this with my pasta primavera that we had for dinner, because that would have been a killer combo.
So Peter, what can you tell us about the Vermentino?
So it's really a fun wine to make because there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of experience with it. I mean, if you're not really into Italian wines and specifically Italian white wines, you probably may have never even heard of it, or if you've heard of it, you've never had one, and you certainly haven't had one made in California. So it's neat to be able to offer a wine to people that maybe have been drinking wine for 30 years and still have found something new. And it's exciting for me. I didn't have much experience at all drinking it until we decided we were going to make it. And we said, okay, we got to study up a little bit and learn a little bit about this wine.
Maybe we should taste one of these. I don't know.
Yeah, when you're looking at making a wine, you taste it differently than you would if you're just having a glass of wine at a restaurant. So, and it's a fun part of the job is to learn new things. So, the Vermentino, we don't bottle a Sauvignon Blanc, a dry Sauvignon Blanc at Castello di Amorosa, and a lot of people are coming in, and that's the style of wine that they want. And I will either steer them towards our dry Gewürztraminer, but more likely the Vermentino, because I think the Vermentino is really something new. And if you're the type of person that wants something that's acidic, that's kind of lighter in body, that is certainly aromatic, the Vermentino is really a great choice. I think, citrus and melon, it's got these really interesting flavors that you don't get in our other wines. So it's quite distinctive in our lineup.
I don't get the kind of the salinity that I've had in some Italian Vermentinos, and I like that. I like that it's a little different, and that the palate is again soft, but yet there's that brightness that lets it finish for not a super long time, but boy, you know that you've been drinking it, and you know that you did drink it, and you know that you want to get another sip in your mouth. So.
Yeah, the mouth-watering nature of the acidity, the goal behind that is, we're not making this wine to age for 20 years. The goal is it's acidic now, so it's enjoyable now, and it just invites that next sip. And kind of one glass leads into the next glass.
My mouth is watering hearing about this, y'all. I'm just going to have to settle for this delicious Chardonnay.
Kristen is commenting that the dry Gewürztraminer is just magical from you guys. That is the second bottle that I have that I'm also looking forward to getting into sometime.
Yeah, people are scared of that. They think it's always going to be really sweet, and our dry Gewürz is not at all what I would call sweet. Consumers definitely would call that dry. Winemakers would probably say that it's got a little bit of residual sugar in it. Most consumers, it's a different grading scale, and they would consider it dry. And the acidity in that wine and the Gewürztraminer is super aromatic. It's really a lot of fun, and it's hard to get people to try that sometimes. They think it's going to be syrupy and sweet, and we do make wines that are quite sweet, but not the dry Gewürz.
Expand your palates, folks. Give them all a try. Give them all a run. How many wines do you guys produce?
Well, when I started, we were making 16 wines. That was back in 2008. And now we're probably at about 41, 42 wines every year.
I thought I had it rough at Lizard Tail. With
two of them are grape juices. So I guess we have 2 grape juices and about 40 wine products. Yeah.
That's
sometimes
amazing.
It's a little more.
So you're a busy man.
Yeah, the wines that we've tried so far, the Vermentino, that's a new one that we introduced a few years ago. We talked about our Rosato. That's a pretty new one. And then we still make our flagship wines, the original wines, like the La Castellana and the Il Barone. Those are 2 of the original products from the castle.
Excellent. And speaking of the Il Barone, that is what I am drinking tonight. The 2015. On the nose, I think, Jeff, I can't remember which one you tasted on Stay Rad Wine blog, but you mentioned the very brambly, earthy aromas to it. And I definitely get some of that in this, along with, there's a lot of typical Cabernet kind of aromas coming in this with the dark fruit. But John, similar to you, like I went to taste this. This is what I think you said, 96% Cabernet and a little bit of Petit Verdot. So I was bracing myself for some sandpaper tannins to hit me, and they're there. And I know you hate this, Jeff Solomon, but they are some pretty smooth tannins that are in this wine. I was expecting a right hook, and it's very smooth and very pleasurable on the palate. What can you tell us about this one? So
Il Barone is certainly what I would call our flagship wine. It's our what most wineries would call their reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. It's usually all Cabernet, and if not, a very, very high percentage. Depending on the vintage, we might bring in a little bit of Merlot, Petit Verdot in this case, maybe Malbec, but usually it's 95% or higher Cabernet. Castello di Amorosa is located up on the top, or up on Diamond Mountain, which is in the very northern end of Napa Valley, and it's one of the warmer areas in the whole valley. We also have vineyards on the valley floor, right in the middle of the valley, in Rutherford, Yountville, where it's flat. And then in Coombsville, which is in the southeastern corner, which is much closer of the valley, much closer to the bay, San Francisco Bay. So it gets more of an influence from the fog. So we have Cabernet from very different areas in the Napa Valley. And the Il Barone, unlike our single vineyard wines, which help to make up all those different wines we make, are a bunch of single vineyard Cabernets. The Il Barone is a blend across all of these.
Okay.
So you're able to go for somewhat of a consistent style year to year, because we have blending that we can do, and you can kind of roll with the vintage. But our goal is always to kind of, what is the vintage giving us? 2015, it's a really early harvest that year. You're kind of right in the end of the drought time there, so it's very different vintage than we would have in the past couple of years up here in the valley. So we're looking at a wine that's going to be, earlier harvested. It tends to be a little less jammy if you're doing that, probably a little bit more herbaceous. So we want to kind of take that lead from nature and make a wine that kind of does that justice. But that said, we can blend from our warmer climate vineyards and our cooler climate vineyards and whatever's in between, kind of pick and choose. And there is a consistent, kind of base Cabernet that we're using every year. Kind of the base wine is about 50% of it is almost exactly the same every year from a certain set of vineyards that are valley floor right in the middle. And then we'll bring in the cooler climate from Coombsville, warmer climate from Diamond Mountain, kind of depending on what the wine needs.
Okay.
So we really benefit from having vineyards spread north to south all the way across the Napa Valley that really give us different characteristics.
Okay. This is a delicious and really pleasant drinking Cabernet. So great job. This is unbelievable stuff. And the chat room is lit up, but Kristen is saying that you guys have a secret library somewhere in that castle. We may need to ask a question about that a little bit later. But Peter, did you want to walk through what you're drinking at all? Or I know a lot of winemakers are like, I don't want to do tasting notes for what I make.
Yeah, or isn't this the time where, Peter, you're supposed to crack open a beer and give us that one line?
Oh, believe me, I'm not afraid to crack open a beer. That was my first career path was in brewing. That's what I studied more brewing in college than really I did winemaking. And when I was in school, I was working at a brewery in Davis, Suder Brewery, making German lagers, or helping the brewer make it. And so that's what I did when I was in school, which is not a bad job to have in college, is to work at the local brewery. But then once I got out of school, got into winemaking. So I'm drinking the same stuff you guys are. Right now I have the Vermentino. I also have the Rosato right here, which is really a fun product. I guess I could talk about that for a second. This wine we introduced just a couple of years ago as kind of a counterpoint to some of the sweeter rosés that we were making. We're making a wine called Fantasia, which is a kind of lower alcohol. It's only 7.5% alcohol. Very sweet. It's in the frizzante style, so it's sweet, it's bubbly. You serve it ice cold. Then we also make a wine called Gioia, which is a Sangiovese rosé, which is dry, but it's not bone dry. So we wanted to make a third rosé, not counting our sparkling wine, a third rosé that is going to be in a very dry style. And we use our estate vineyards to make this. It's 100% Pinot Noir. And one thing that's a little bit different about it is that we ferment and age it in our concrete wine tanks. We have 6 tanks on site. They're in our barrel room. They're eggs, giant egg tanks that hold the equivalent of 9 barrels worth of wine. And so we fill a couple of those up every year with our rosé juice. and we ferment and age it in that concrete. So it gives the wine a little bit of a different dimension, a little bit of minerality. You get that aged on the lees, kind of richness into the wine, but of course without any of the oak that you would get when you're doing the Chardonnay with the same operation. So it's kind of this hybrid method. So really an interesting wine that we started to make, and it's really caught on. And we used to have, we made one egg tank out of it, and I used the other one for Vermentino, for Gewürztraminer. I put Pinot Bianco in it. I've put Chardonnay in them. Now they all have rosé in them because that product really took off, and it's we just went all in with the Rosado.
That sounds amazing. It really does. JVB in the chat is already saying about how great it looks and how much he wants to try one. All right, guys, anything else before we move on?
I just have to ask, because you brought up the eggs. One of my favorite, Castello di Amorosa Chardonnay epiphanies was when I had Bien Nacido in oak and in the egg. Are you telling me because of Brosé that I can no longer get Bien Nacido Chardonnay in a concrete egg?
Well, you can get Bien Nacido Chardonnay, but the barrels are close to the eggs. But yeah, the wine is not in those eggs anymore.
Can I just tell my friends it was in a concrete egg just for fun?
Yeah, it won't. They'll say, "Why does it smell like oak?" That's the whole idea. It doesn't smell like oak. But now we did it. The eggs were really great, and because it lets us do some experimentation, and that's one thing that maybe people wouldn't think of at first when they see our castle and they see this grand structure that was inspired by this 13th century, but our winemaking is really experimental, and we push the limits. We try new things. You can see how many products we've introduced over not that many years. That means you're just trying something new, planting new varieties, buying new grapes, trying new techniques like this. These are grapes we already had, but through a whole different winemaking scenario at it. So we do a lot of really fun different things. And when we do that, when we find something we like, we're not afraid to kind of go all in on it. And that's what we did with the rosé. So that's sorry, awesome. We did a couple different Chardonnays in our concrete. We did one from Napa Valley and one from Bien Nacido, but now it's just Bien Nacido is only for our barrel fermented program. But that's still a great counterpoint to the reserve, because it doesn't have nearly as much new oak, and it has more tropical flavors rather than the stone fruit that you're going to get from our Napa Valley wine.
Oh man. I say just buy one more egg and bring it back.
that or just have some frosé on hand whenever Solomon shows up, and he'll be happy.
It is the Easter season. Get another egg.
Hey, this is a serious rosé here. This is not no joke. No.
Absolutely. It sounds like it for sure. And again, folks, we're talking to Peter Velleno from Castello di Amorosa. You can find out more by visiting visiting their website at castellodiamorosa.com. You should also follow them on Instagram at the Castello. All right. We're going to move on with the show. We are always excited about this little bit. It's called... No, not that. It's called... Wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. This is where I'm going to give these guys a term, and they're going to try to tell if it's a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference. The term this week is Crenellations.
Come on, that's not a word.
So is Crenellations a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or a pop culture reference? Started with John for the tasting, so we're going to start with Jeff Solomon.
How do you spell Crenellations?
C-R-E-N.
Wait, hold up. There's two C's?
There's just one C. Just one C. I wasn't sure if you could hear me over your giggling. I'll start it over.
Okay,
Stop talking, Jeff Solomon. Crellations.
That's not a word. I'm looking at this. This is not a word.
It is a word.
Okay. All right. Crenellations. Okay.
Crenellations.
Well, this is obviously. Oh, I know exactly what this is. Okay. See, during the winemaking process, you know, there are a lot of different, you know, I like to refer to it as like there's this hexyl methyl chicken wire
Absolutely.
that's floating around inside of this solution here, but it's not a totally like evenly distributed solution, and really a lot of it has to do with density, especially as like some particles, as they're colliding together, they stick to each other and they wrap around each other, and then also what can really kind of mess with things is temperature fluctuations, right? And so what you often have is, before the bottling process, you're going to lower the temperature of the wine to precipitate out, various different particles. One of the more famous is tartaric acid, also known as cream of tartar. Some people call it wine diamonds. Like if you don't lower the temperature before you bottle it, and then you take like a white wine, you put it in a fridge, and then the temperature lowers, and the wine diamonds or the tartaric acid, it precipitates out, it falls on the bottom. Some people kind of freak out when they see it. Some people are like, oh, it looks like diamonds. But another term that is often used, they refer to those as crenellations.
All right. So Jeff Solomon is going with a wine term, and it is just another way of saying wine diamonds.
Yes, crenellations.
Right. Crenellations. Now, I don't know on this one. John Ruyak, are you going to get this one? He's taking a big old drink of his wine, so I think he's got this one.
Watch out for the crenellations, bro.
And he's taking another drink. It's
well, that's what the beard's for. It filters about.
It's like a Cool Hand Luke moment here. All right. So, John, for our audio podcast, if you could stop chugging your wine and tell us what crenellations are.
Normally, you would see crenellations at the top of a mountain and a snowdrift, and the wind blows over the top of the snowdrift, and it creates a crest, and it starts to come down like a wave. I would venture to guess, if you looked out Jeff Eckel's window right now, you would see crenellations coming off the roof of his house, and he's really scared he's going to get knocked silly tomorrow when he goes out to his car.
So John Ruyak is saying it's a pop culture reference he's feeling that like I'm taking on Solomon's role and just looking for things around my house when it comes to this bit.
That's exactly it.
Okay. All right. Peter Velleno. Now, can you tell us what a crenellation is?
I gotta say, it's not a term that I find myself using at the winery.
Yes.
Tartaric acid or not.
My instinct tells me it's not winemaking, because there's hardly any winemaking terms that are English. There are almost always some weird French word for it. But I was thinking that, the crystals that precipitate out of the wine, I was on that track as well, that Jeff got to eventually. So that I could go with that. I think it might be a winemaking term. I've never used it.
Okay. All right. Unbelievably, all right. Crenellations is in fact a pop culture reference. You can find crenellations where Peter Velleno works. And JVB, once again, is able to take this. Now, if you go to look at a castle on the top row of a castle, there are generally some ups and downs. The top row of stones on the wall or tower, which alternate between merlons, the raised section, and crenats, the gaps, to provide both cover and a line of fire for defenders. When you bring them all together, they are called crenellation.
So you're talking about peaks and valleys.
Pretty much, yes. And JVP pretty much got it. So nicely
I'll
done.
take a half a point for saying it's a pop
You-
culture reference.
You
give me half
For
a point.
JVB putting make-believe words inside of his definition, no
And
points.
Kristen said it could also be used to describe the folds of a brain.
No, that's convolutions.
Oh,
think.
we
Yeah.
have some
Kristen's
I would
over
know.
here
My
talking about
brain is smooth.
yeah. Kristen's talking about phrenology over here.
All right,
It's gonna snow
Peter.
tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. It's snowing now.
All right, so Peter, you already answered my first question. So obviously we've talked about the castle a little bit tonight, and so from the outside coming in, this is going to be the first thing that somebody sees is the castle as you come in. So can you tell us a little bit about this unbelievable location that was named the best tasting room of 2019 by USA Today?
Yeah, your eyes will be drawn to the crenellations across the top of the castle. The first thing you'll see. So I've been at the castle for 13 years. Actually, tomorrow morning is my 13-year anniversary at the castle, and they've been open. Thank you, for 14 years. So they just about a year after they opened their doors is when I started. But they've been the work to go into the castle was 14, 15, 16 years prior to that. So the inception of the whole winery is our owner Dario Satui, who grew up in San Francisco. His family's was making wine since 1885, and during Prohibition, the winery went away, but the family continued to live at the property in the winery. So some of his childhood memories are digging around the wine cellar, and always had this dream that he was going to reinvigorate the wine brand one day. So after college in the later 70s, he spent a lot of time in Europe, went around, was drawing pictures of everything he saw, and just kind of had a collection of drawings, and thought, didn't know what he was going to do with them. And eventually what that turned into is kind of the blueprint and the inspiration for Castello di Amorosa. In the 70s, he restarted Visatui Winery in St. Helena, and then in 1993 bought the property where the castle sits right now, and put years of his life into designing it, and all of his passion, every last dollar he had, bringing over bricks from Europe to build this place. And I think it's almost 200 containers worth of building materials, bricks, as you see in the picture, the bricks that are on the ceiling or on the floor, tiles, are all reclaimed from structures that had fallen down or fallen into disarray, mostly in Italy and otherwise in Europe. So all the materials that were all brought in, except for the larger stones, which were all hand chiseled by individual craftsmen with kind of using the old techniques. And it's there's nothing is like this anywhere around. There's been no undertaking in the Napa Valley like what Dario achieved here. And a lot of people thought he was crazy. They weren't all wrong, but he stuck it out and just followed what he felt this was his calling. He was honoring the heritage of his family, coming from Italy, and the winemaking past of his family, and then just following something that he felt he had to do. And then once he started building it, it really went off the deep end and just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's 100 something rooms. There's 8 different stories, a massive wine cave. It really is over the top in all the best ways, and affords me a really great place to make wine. Brings a lot of customers in just to see the castle. And you guys touched on it earlier. my job is to make wine there, not to learn the terminology of the structures of the castle. Um, but, and I think they think I'm doing a good job. They keep me around over there, and we make lots of different wines. We have a lot of fun, lots of new techniques and experiments, and also just trying to perfect the wines that we already do make. And having all these customers, we're 100% direct. So anybody out there who wants to buy our wines, it's either mail order, go to our website, or you come to our winery. And we have a huge wine club following. Dario is with his other first winery at Visa Tui, really was one of the pioneers in Napa Valley with wine clubs, to really take that and focus on it as the core of the business and like direct connection with your consumers. And because we're not in any stores or restaurants or anything, I don't have to go out on sales trips like some of these other winemakers I know. Get sent all over the country trying to peddle their wine. And the worst thing they make me do is a winemaker dinner once in a while, which is hardly work. And we do a lot of really great events, and I get to meet all of our customers face to face. And it's that's been the weirdest challenge we have right now with COVID is not being able to see all of our customers. We're used to doing just regular events all the time, and usually one big wine club event once a month, whether it's New Year's Eve or multiple winemaker dinners, Valentine's Day, our pagan ball around Halloween time. These are really great events, and the customers love to come to them. And we haven't been able to do any of those events, and kind of don't realize what a core part of our business is these events and bringing everybody to the winery. So it's really been a strange year, in lots of ways, obviously, but we miss all of our customers. We hope we can get them all back. We're starting to open up for tastings, but we're not doing the tours. We're not doing the full-on tours quite yet, and hopefully soon.
Excellent.
Peter, I got to know, just because you touched on the fact that this has been a challenging year pertaining to COVID, as the only other Californian that's in this room, I was also just thinking about in the fall, just being inundated with smoke and fire everywhere. And folks were asking in the chat, was the castle affected by the fire, and was your winemaking affected by the fires?
Yeah, unfortunately, in a very large way. We have two buildings. We have our main castle building, which is where the only thing that customers or would ever go through. But then across our crush pad, we have what we call our farmhouse. And that consisted of our finished wine warehouse, tank room, our bottling line, laboratory, my office, and that whole building was lost. So we lost a considerable amount of finished product, thousands of cases, including a lot of our large format collections and kind of special things that we wanted to keep at the winery rather than send them out and store them off site. Our bottling line it's a big deal. Not have a bottling line. In my office. So right now I'm working out of a temporary trailer out on our crush pad, which is not so bad. I actually have a pretty nice view out over the valley that I didn't used to have, but we're all making the best of it. And, just kind of, that's our battle, right? I mean, castles are formed over centuries. The Castello di Amorosa has lots of different architectural styles to kind of match what real castles or castles over in Italy would be like, where they're knocked down, they're rebuilt, different architect comes in here, 200 years later the techniques are different. That's the way the castle's already built, and we're just continuing that right now. So when I said they took them 16 years to build the castle, we never really stopped. We added a wine cave, I added wine tanks in, we added a outdoor patio area, lots of landscaping. When I started, there was hardly any landscaping at all. The moat was dry. Now it's a nice, full of water and lots of plants. So the property has continued to evolve. And what could be more castle-like than rebuilding what was lost? So, well, looking forward to that project. It's going to be a big undertaking. It's going to take a couple of years, but as far as its effect on winemaking, we continue on. We didn't pick a lot of grapes because of the fire, so we'll be making a lot less wine with vintage 2020 when it comes to red wine. All the white wines were fine. They were all harvested already, and we're pretty much unaffected. But red wines, you're going to see a lot less from us in 2020.
That's unfortunate, but understanding. And guys, I'm just going to say we are a little short on time with Peter, so probably only get 1 or 2 questions each. So John, if you have something you want to ask.
Well, a couple things. First of all, if we come to visit and it's a castle, we saw a video last week about flinging kegs from a trebuchet. Should we all sit in a trebuchet and get flung over the wall? That would be a cool way to enter the Castello di Amorosa.
Yeah, we could fling you out into the lake, maybe.
There you go. You go first, John.
I'll do a Solomon. I'm going to tell you how you run your business. I think you should put alligators in the moat. And I hope Nora gets to come to work with you pretty often. But I did want to ask a question about all the different vineyards that you work with, and how is it managing all of that fruit coming from 14 different directions? And you've got 4 or 5 estate vineyards, and then 10 other vineyards that you're pulling from throughout the Napa Valley. How does that affect your schedule throughout, harvest and the first part of the winemaking season?
Well, it is pretty complicated with all the different, fruit coming from every which way, and managing all the estate vineyards. But we have a great team, and the teams have been around for a long time. The director of winemaking is Brooks Painter, and he's been with the company for 4 or 5 years longer than I have. Our vineyard manager has been with the company for 30 plus years. We have a really great core group of people and good communication. And I'll just add that's all we do. All we do is make wine. So we're not worried about other aspects of the business, especially during harvest. We're not being pulled away to do other things. We just really can zero in and focus on what we're doing. And we all know our jobs. We know each other very well. And I won't say that everything always is super smooth, but it all somehow turns out in the end. Harvest is crazy no matter where you work. If harvest isn't crazy at a winery, it just means you have too many people working for you. And you need
something's not working right.
A little bit. Yeah, it should be a bit chaotic. That's part of the fun, though, is the excitement, and it makes 2 months fly by. It's hardly boring if you've ever worked at a winery through a busy harvest season, and especially with what we're doing with fruit that's coming from different parts of California, Mendocino County, Sonoma County, all the way down south of Bienesito that we were talking about, and then right here in the Napa Valley. All of these grapes have different harvest dates, so it's not like everything is coming in simultaneously. It also means that our harvest is very long. It's really drawn out. Some wineries are bringing in all their fruit over the course of 3 weeks, and we're talking about 2 solid months of bringing in fruit, which it's hard because it never seems to end. But that's what you have to do if you want to make these different styles. If you want to make Vermentino, you need to pick that a solid month before you're picking Cabernet from the castle. If you want to make sparkling wine like we make, that's even earlier. So we just kind of do it to ourselves, I guess. Every time we come up with a new idea, it's like, okay, well, that's one more thing we got to worry about. It's, you wouldn't work at a place like that if you wanted a simple harvest. That's for sure.
That's right.
We also bottle the entire year too. Some wineries are bottling everything they have in 2 weeks or maybe a month, but we're bottling products every single month out of the year, usually except November, maybe October, November. We try not to bottle because we're in harvest, but otherwise something's going in the bottle every other month, because we talked about the whole array of products we have, and some are in barrels for 8 months, some are 24 months. We make one product that's in barrel for 30 months. Other ones are bottled, in March. So
awesome. That's amazing. All right. So if somebody's listening, they haven't been to your site, they don't know what to get, and they go to Castello di Amorosa and start looking through your wines, and they're overwhelmed by the number of wines you have available. If you had to give somebody, like, let's say 2 of your wines that they should order if they wanted to get what Castello and what your style of winemaking is, what would be the 2 wines you would tell them to throw in their shopping cart?
Well, I mean, it's easy to say Cabernet. If you're in Napa, you're always graded on your Cabernet Sauvignon, our typical Napa Valley Cab, or Il Baroni if you're inclined. Which are, I would stand by as, some of our best wines. But I can be honest and say that there's Cabernet all over Napa Valley here. This is what we do. And if you can't make a good Cabernet in the Napa Valley, you're in the wrong line of work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll put ours up against anybody's. But if you're asking about what would kind of speak to our identity a little bit more, I would certainly say more of the Italian varietals, because that's something we do that not too many others do. The La Castellana, which you guys are going to try at a later date. That is similar to our Il Baroni in that it is a reserve level Cabernet Sauvignon. You can tell by the wax on it that it's a reserve wine. That's kind of our little thing that we do. We're blending in Sangiovese into that wine. It's typically about 2/3 to 75% Cabernet, and then the rest is split between Merlot and Sangiovese. And some years we'll put a little bit of Malbec in there, Petit Verdot, but it's a super Tuscan blend. And for us, that means we're taking we're bringing a medley of Italian varietals for us at Sangiovese with the Bordeaux varietals, which are all the other ones. And so that is really a wine that I think is unique for us. Pinot Grigio might be a little bit simple, but that's not a really exciting wine for some people. But we make a really nice Pinot Grigio, and I would put it up against anybody's. And if you want to see, an Italian varietal done in the kind of modern California style and done better than the boring Pinot Grigio that you've had 100 times in your life, that's a great wine. And our dry Gewürztraminer is really a fun wine. I'm going to keep on listing varietals because that's kind of what we do. But the question would be, do you like sweet wines? Do you like red wines? Do you like white wines? And there's going to be 10 choices for each of those.
Yep.
Yeah. Name your favorite kid. You only have 30 of them.
I do love that you said the Pinot Grigio. Like I haven't tried it or anything, but that's really impressive of you as a winemaker to say, yeah, I'm going to give you this wine that a lot of people poo-poo on a lot, but when it's made right, it can be unbelievable profile. So the fact that you would put that up as one of your top 2 or 3 that you would recommend says a lot about what you're doing and your confidence in what you're doing. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Dario, wanted to make wines like this. You can't make Pinot Grigio in the Napa Valley. It's going to turn out terribly. It's way too warm. Soil's not right. So he acquired a property up in Mendocino County in the Anderson Valley, and that's where we get our Gewürztraminer from, our Pinot Grigio. So that's the level of commitment that Dario's made to make sure that we have a good source of grapes. So these are estate grapes that we're working with, and there's not too many wineries in the Napa Valley that are acquiring land so they can plant Pinot Grigio there. So we're a little bit different than everybody.
So what I'm hearing is if you want something to happen and you need it to happen, challenge Castello di Amorosa to say, you can't do that. And it's going to happen. Jeff Solomon, one last question.
Yeah. So John was trying to steal my thunder in terms of telling people how to run their own business. I was thinking, Peter, about how there has been, we've been kind of going back to this idea of being able to experiment, being able to play around with different things. And I was going to ask you a totally different question. And then you started touting La Castellana. And I got to thinking, to me, I think this is the year. It's only fitting. In the year that Steven Spurrier, the man behind the Tasting of Paris, passes away, and his whole thing was bringing California Cabernet up to the world stage against the big hitters in Bordeaux. I'm just wondering, are we ready for a tasting of the castle? California, Northern California. Okay, hold up. Napa Valley Super Tuscans against Italy, hosted in the castle by Dario Satui. He's gonna put it on the map more than any Bachelor episode ever could. This will put the castle on the map. The tasting of the castle. Is it gonna happen?
Well, I don't know. I don't think there's too long of a list for Napa Valley Super Tuscan wines. It's
Just
short
put yours against all of the other Super Tuscans.
I'll put ours up against anybody's, but I bet we'd pick it out. You know, the Super Tuscans, you know, from Italy they're such a mixed bag. I mean, they're wines, so many different styles. I mean, you could have everything from 100% Sangiovese to Syrah. So it's such an odd wine style. For us, we're bringing in Sangiovese. The guys in Italy are doing this, so they don't have to use Sangiovese. It's really is a interesting one. It's really fun to talk about, and you know, we can make a wine since Super Tuscan doesn't have any legal meaning whatsoever. We can put that on our bottle, and it's every bit as accurate at describing the wine as what they might do over there. I would support this idea just because it'd be an excuse to get my hands on a bunch of Super Tuscans that I probably can afford, because there's some pretty high end stuff over there.
The only thing better than a tax write-off is when you're not the person that has to write it off, Peter. Make it happen.
Yeah. We went to Italy a couple of years ago with the winery. Actually, we were doing a cruise, and we went to Sassicaia, who was awarded the top wine of the year that year. It was a really great coincidence that we happened to be over in that area the year that Sassicaia won Wine Spectator's top wine. So we got to go try that at the winery, and it was great. It was not somehow markedly different than anything that we're doing. It's really interesting to see how the critics all work, but really a fantastic wine. And I wouldn't tell them there, but out here I would say I'd put my wine up against them in a blind tasting. We wouldn't hesitate to do that.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, John, last question.
Oh, I thought I didn't have any other questions. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I thought you just gave me one.
Okay, excellent. Peter, I know you have a time commitment. We're going to move on with the show. If you want to stick around for the last 10 minutes, that's cool. Or if you want to get out of here, feel free.
Yeah, I'll probably say goodbye to you guys now. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, the time thing got a little wonky there, but we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. We really appreciate you sharing this wine with us, and what you guys are doing there is amazing. So keep it up.
Peter, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Delicious. Thank you.
All right, cheers.
All right, cheers. That was fun.
That was super cool. Wow.
All right, but
trebuchets.
Yeah, for sure. Like our California trip just got a lot more expensive because we're gonna have to install a trebuchet and launch John over a wall.
Can I just say this? Fuck Sierra Nevada for wasting my time with that stupid live trebuchet thing.
Hour-long thing.
I was so excited, and you're not gonna give me one close-up of the trebuchet or the trailer that apparently the keg hit
that they hit.
I never saw.
Right?
Fuck you, Sierra Nevada. I'm sure the beer's great. You don't know how to do a live stream. You can pay for a producer to be in somebody's ear, but you can't fucking give me a close-up and then a slow-mo afterwards. And I don't know, maybe start on time.
Maybe have two cameras so that you could show the landing, the destruction. Come on.
Bullshit.
And
whatever. I guess the other folks they worked at the folks that were running the broadcast. They worked at the brewery. I don't really feel like I learned anything about the beer. I don't feel like I learned anything about trebuchets.
No.
It was such a waste of time. A big little waste of time.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
Fuck them.
But
your
we should
dumb
put
beer.
alligators and
That's
trebuchets.
the thing. And I'll take it back to like, I was actually going to ask Peter whether or not like their online shopping cart has this function where somebody's about to check out and then they rip things out of their shopping cart, because now I've got two on the list. I've got Russian River and I've got Sierra Nevada. They both make great beers. They've also both made me feel like an asshole. So fuck off. Bye. You lost my money, motherfuckers. Bye.
Lori just gave us the next idea for our next t-shirt. Hashtag fuck those guys. Just about it. WLD.
Oh, yeah. We like drinking. Fuck those guys.
The craziest part, and they didn't even show it, was that they had a giant garbage disposal down at the end of the thing that they just landed the keg on the edge of.
And they didn't. Nobody ever bothered to nudge it in or run any water.
They had an incinerator in a field out in the
They
middle
did.
of nowhere.
They did. Unfucking believable. This is the last time a guest leaves early.
Yeah.
They're never going to leave early again after this shit.
Fool me once, Sierra Nevada, shame on you. I am never watching you attempt to release a beer by launching it in a trebuchet for a Guinness World Record ever again.
Honestly,
I hope it was worth it.
You know, honestly, what needs to happen? We Like Drinking needs to go beat their fucking record.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Just to
putting Eccles in a trebuchet. You weigh more than 20 kilograms, right? I don't do metric.
No, not even close. Not even close. All right. So if that just happened, it must be
Last call.
Last call. I found the mute button.
Last call. Time to clean house and lock the doors. You know what we do here, folks. We're looking for the help from you. John Ruyak, if the folks want to follow us on the social media platforms, how can they do so?
Well, there's a couple of those places to follow us, and that's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's Twitter is We Like Drinking 1. That's the numeral 1. Instagram is just We Like Drinking. And join the tavern. That's WeLikeDrinking.com/tavern. It's an invitation only at the place. You know, we have to let you in, but, you know, we let everybody else in, so we'll let you too.
We let everybody in, then we don't give them the right time for stuff. Things blow up. It's fun. Make sure also if
we're
you
drinking
don't remember,
beer and wine, what do you expect?
right?
People get anxious. They act like they're waiting for an NBA Top Shots pack drop. Come on, man! I need those packs.
Also visit CastelloDiAmorosa.com and also follow them on Instagram at the Castello.
Should we be doing an NFT for We Like Drinking?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna be just
negative value
around in a circle.
Everybody's mad that we didn't rant more. It'll come. Jeff Solomon, if the folks have some thoughts on this show or anything else, really, trebuchets, garbage disposals, NFTs? Where can they go to leave a review? NFTs, where can they go to leave a review of all the things?
Yeah, you know what I want you to figure out, everybody, right now is look at your phone, look at your favorite podcatch, your podcast catching app that you're listening to us on right now. Take a look at those 5 empty stars, fill them all the way up, and figure out if there's a way where you can release an NFT in the review. Like, how cool would that be? You open up the review, and there's an NFT of like a shirtless Rob Gronkowski drinking wine. Apparently, Rob Gronkowski released an NFT this week. Made millions of dollars for this.
Oh, I thought you were going to take your shirt off. I thought you were going to take your shirt off.
No. I mean, I look amazing with my shirt off. Y'all couldn't handle it. That's the problem. If you want me to take my shirt off, I need some money. Eccles, what do they need to do?
If you've done all that and you're looking to do more, consider becoming a patron of the show. It's been a hard week, folks. It's been a hard week. We talked last week about how we were so close. We were so close to $200 an episode. We were within $7.
Tell me we lost a patron.
We lost a patron this week.
Motherfucker.
we went from under $10 to over $10 per way. It's like the trebuchet didn't launch the keg long enough, and we were just sitting there on an hour-long video cast with nothing to show for it at the end of it.
You know what it is? They're addicted to NBA Top Shot, and they need some cash for a pack drop. I get it, bro.
Yeah. Maybe some people did need to go try to get their cash back so they could go try and get some Rob Gronkowski NFTs. That could be a thing. But so I feel like we're climbing back on the horse. You know, if you're out there and you're listening, we love doing this show. There's so much more we want to do. We just need in the arms. We just need a little bit of help. We're $13 a month away.
Did you see what JVP wrote in the chat?
What did he say? This one?
No, down to the bottom. The trebuchet gives and the trebuchet taketh away. Oh man.
So consider visiting. Yeah, what?
Yeah, how else are we going to afford these Rob Gronkowski crypto punks? So, okay, how can they give us some Bitcoin? What do they need to do?
Visit welikedrinking.com/pledge to find out how you can help us support us and dare say us get to our dream, which we've never documented. We actually documented like our big milestone was $250 a month, but that's just a pipe dream at this point. We just want to get to 200 soon. So if you could please consider throwing us a little cash, like so many of our friends have. We've got close to 30 people supporting us on a monthly basis, and that is amazing of each and every one of you, and we love you for it. Lots of cool stuff you can get. Rhett was sharing all the stuff that we shipped to him this week. Visit welikedrinking.com/pledge. You can also find the show notes. Where are we at? What the hell's going on? You also find the show notes for the episode. Just going to pause there for a second. Just going to take it. I'm just going to take another
You know
drink.
what the great part is while it's a pause?
The great or the grape? Great
the
or
grape
grape?
part.
Yeah.
The amazing part is Jeff, while looking at the show notes, flubs the part about how everybody should look at our show notes.
Yeah.
This is like Andy Kaufman.
This is the first NFT. That right there.
What do you think we could sell an NFT for? $1?
Negative $30.
I'm guessing we could get
at $1 right now, everybody. All it has to do is go to $2, and that's 100% profit. You know.
Oh, did I? Oh shit! I think I fucked up Kristen's pledge. She gets to tell one of us to drink something.
Oh, whoa!
Oh, that's good.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're making that happen. That's going to happen soon. Sorry about that, Kristen. Yes,
reading is hard. Math is hard.
Reading aloud is hard. It's also fundamental. You can also find the show notes for this episode and all links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episodes. Oh my goodness. You know, sometimes the wheels come off or a wheel comes off. Sometimes all the wheels come off. And we enjoy those shows just as much as the others. But it's the time of the show where we get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
You know, this is kind of a grind my pulp, mash my gears kind of final thought. But, you know, I like how everybody just slaps their foreheads like, oh, fuck, what's Ruyak going to say? And who watches award shows anymore? I don't watch award shows anymore. But the fact that the Grammys gave Eddie Van Halen 15 seconds is just fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. That's all I got to say. You guys are assholes. You don't deserve to be in your, music sucks anymore anyway.
Jeff Solomon?
You know what they say, if the wheels fall off, the trebuchet ain't gonna work.
deep thoughts from everybody this week. And I'll just say one last time to Peter Velleno, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Apparently, we had some things brewing inside. So when you dropped off, things may have fallen apart a little bit. But, I think that just goes to show how amazing your wine is, that it let us get to the point where we felt we could be so real. So thank you, Peter, so much. Folks, take an opportunity to check them out, especially if you're in the Napa Valley. Go visit this place. It looks amazing. Jeff Solomon, is it amazing?
Oh, it's amazeballs. I felt like I was in an episode of The Bachelor when I went there.
I can't believe you didn't ask a Bachelor question.
I think that shit's played out. And like, honestly, like I was going to ask, how many times a day are you walking through the tasting room and you hear somebody talking about, I think an episode of The Bachelor was filmed here in 2008. I'm sure it happens every day.
I'm sure. Especially
I didn't
now.
ask him about the sandwiches at Visa Tui, but everybody who's ever driven through Napa, they know what I'm talking about.
And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast.
Where you'll never drink alone.
Go for the wine, stay for the crenellations.
I'm glad he wasn't here for the end because he had more knuckle hair than me, and I didn't want to feel, inadequate.
Well, I mean,
why do I know the date? Oh, 2000. Oh, I made that up. Lori, the thing about comedy is you pick like a number that's funny.
no,
And everybody knows 2008 is the funniest number
that's
of
not
the
true.
aughts.
There's nothing true about that.
John
Riak, how many episodes have we finished and then we go into our conversation bit and Jeff Solomon has been like, hey guys, I got to go. The Bachelor's about to start.
Oh, shit. I mean, there was 50 or 60 of them.
I mean, probably.
No, it's Big Brother is what I say.
Oh,
no.
Okay, so
it's both. It's Big
both.
Brother and
It's
The Bachelor.
Yeah.
By the way, so you should know, The Bachelor airs on Monday nights. However, I don't watch The Bachelor. Kara records on Monday. And while we're all doing this right here, she's on the other side of the house watching The Bachelor on replay with all of her friends. And it's like amazing. Like they all watch at the same time. They talk to each other. And then it's like when they get to a commercial, like they'll all fast forward and somebody will say, okay, I see like a picture of the moon. And somebody else says, okay, I'm at the moon. And then they all press play at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So no spoilers because I don't know. I just hope that whoever he picked was there for the right reasons.
I have a hard time caring about these things.
My God. All right. Folks.
I am waiting for the documentary on the investigation into the Tiger King.
Again, viewers, I'm so sorry about the time thing today. I had to go back and change things as you all saw, because you saw things change in real time. But I went and I typed the time in on Facebook in Pacific time because that's what I'd been talking about for so much. But when I put it on Facebook, it saves it in Mountain Time. So that's what happened.
That does have to be difficult for reals, dude. What the listeners might not think about is the viewers might not think about is fucking Eccles lives in flyover country. His actual time zone doesn't matter. So he has to go, okay, if I lived in a place that was important, what time would it be? And shit gets totally fucked up. I get it, man. I get it, dude.
You know what's funny? You know, I live in Albuquerque and no planes ever land here. And
Right.
you know, Sharon and I will be like sitting in the back, drinking a glass of wine, drinking a vodka tonic or something. We'll see a plane go over and she goes, I wonder where that's going. I said, well, I think by the trajectory, I think that's either going to Phoenix or San Diego. You know, they don't land here.
All right. So folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always great having you guys in here. Sorry for the time confusion. Thank you for sticking all through it. I know everybody, Jim, you guys are up so late. But it was great. What's next? I think next week's going to be a chaos, isn't it?
What is next week?
I think it's no guest.
Yeah, I think
No
next
guest?
week is next week episode. Yeah, no guest. No guest.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Get
shoot.
some-
What's next Tuesday?
The date?
23rd? I
23rd.
get my second COVID vaccine the next day.
Oh, the next day.
I should
the
do- I
next
should do
day,
that.
don't worry
I should
about
do
it.
that.
It
I
was
should
the
do
day
that
after.
hungover. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, at least it's not the day.
I will catch you. You will find me.
So
Jam after
Rhett's
jam.
going on. Rhett's going on and on about he became a $10 patron, so he got a T-shirt. And so if any of you were to ever visit our shop to order a T-shirt or a coffee mug or anything like that, we don't ship to Canada from the site because shipping's weird and super expensive, and I don't want to have to force that onto you guys. So we only ship in the United States. And so when I have a Canadian awesome person that I need to ship something to, I have them ship it to me, and then I ship it to you. So it's shipped to me. I just took the bag in and just put a new label on it to ship to you, right? So that's why it looks like Jeff Eccles is the company.
That's classic. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It costs us more money, so it's probably really dumb of me to do, but that's how it rolls right now.
Hey, Rhett, you're worth it.
Rhett's totally worth it. All right. All right, folks. So we will see you next week for the chaos. If you enjoyed the 5 minutes of chaos tonight, which y'all did, like the chat blew up as soon as Peter dropped off and the shit got real. The chat blew up that everybody was excited because I don't know, F-bombs and trebuchets, I guess. Soapboxes.
Trebuchets are the new smoked whale testicles.
So we will see you all next week. Thanks again for joining us.
Love you guys. Bye.
See ya.